In this tutorial, you will be able to say that you can solve one-step equations with constants that are fractions. A constant is a number that is adding or subtracting to the variable. So all of our inverse operations today will either be addition or subtraction only. Be sure that you know how to identify the variable, determine the inverse operation, that means opposite operation, and be sure that you use a property of equality to isolate the variable, to get the variable by itself. A property of equality is when you do something that is fair to both the left and right sides equally of the equation. You're definitely going to need a calculator today so that we can compute these fractions quickly. Depending on your model, the fraction button may look different. So take note of what I've circled on the screen and make sure that you can locate the one on your calculator. First, let's start by solving a simple problem. The question on the top left here says n plus 3 equals 10. The variable is n. The constant is plus 3. The inverse is minus 3. The property of equality states to write it on both sides. Drawing that line through the center of the equal sign is optional. Oftentimes, I will draw a line here to denote that my next part will be a rewrite or a simplification of all of this. These are inverses, which means they make a 0. But do not write the 0. The whole point of using an inverse is to delete that term in general. Rewrite the letter n, compute your answer. Now let's use this model to help us through a fraction problem. It is the exact same method. Find your variable, locate the constant, perform the opposite operation. Write it on both sides. And now, pick up your calculator. I'll use the TI-30XS Multiview. For this one, the fraction button is 3 up from the number 7. There it is, n over d. I'm going to start first by entering the fraction at the top. 5/6. 5, arrow down, 6. Arrow to the right to press the operation. Subtract 1/4. That's all there is to it. You're done. Let's take a look at another one. Find your variable, write the opposite operation, be fair to both sides. Pick up your calculator and compute. 3/14 plus 5/7. Let's use the Desmos calculator this time. 3/14 plus 5/7. Let me double check. Yes. Now look at that answer. That's pretty crazy. If I ask you a question in fraction notation, then that means I'm looking for an answer that's a fraction. I'm not trying to change languages here. I'm not converting from fractions to decimals. Although you could, in general, try and keep your answer in the format of the question. So the Desmos calculator comes in really handy here because it has a nifty button right at the end that says that it can convert that number into a fraction for you. So click it once, and there you go. 13/14. Let's take a look at another question. Locate your variable. Find your constant. Now, a lot of times I'll see kids do this because they think that's the operation, and so they write the opposite of it. But unfortunately, that plus sign belongs to the x and has nothing to do with the 3/5. So 3/5 is positive because I don't see any sign in front of it. So we are going to use subtraction or a negative sign here. But don't use this twice. Okay, a lot of times I'll see kids put in their calculator, subtract -3/5, and that's not what that says. You can only use this symbol one time. All right, let's get our calculator handy. -1/4 minus 3/5. Again, if you get a decimal as an answer, convert it back to a fraction. -17/20. All right, one more. Find your variable and perform the opposite of the constant. So that's a -1/8. So we're going to add 1/8. So -7/24 plus 1/8. Let's use this calculator. The negative sign on this calculator is right next to the enter key. -7/24 plus 1/8. -1/6. All right, let's try something slightly different. What if my fraction has a mixed number? Well, that's fine. Your calculator can do mixed numbers too. Just be sure to show the correct work. And the correct number. That would help. The inverses cancel out, and the calculator is going to do the hard work for us. So 11/18 plus 3 2/3. So I'm going to show you on this calculator because the mixed number is slightly different. 11/18 plus 3 2/3. Now this is just a numerator and a denominator. If I want a unit in front, I have to use this green writing up here. Do you see that? UND? Well, in order to get that active, I have to press the green button and then the fraction key. Do you see the outlines? It's ready for my mixed number. This calculator is really neat. 77/18. Let's take a look at another one. You getting the hang of it now? Second, and D. I'm thinking of another calculator. 5 1/3 minus 8 1/2. -19/6. Now when you write your fraction, it doesn't matter if the negative sign is in the numerator, off to the side, or down in the denominator. They're all correct. I think it's time for you to try some on your own. Good luck.